What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. So, this morning I was scrolling through YouTube trying to find out what I was gonna do a video on, see what's out there. And luckily, I came across the homie Chill from 16 to Life. I came across his channel. First off, those of you that don't know about the 16 to Life channel, make sure you go ahead, check the channel out, subscribe, man. Chill was a very chill individual, very unbiased, has some funny stories, some good insight. He's very unbiased in what he does. But this video, and I'm actually going to put the link. I don't know if it's I think it goes over here. I'm going to put the link to this video. And so click on that, check out the interview that I'm going to be responding to or reacting to, or just mainly speaking on. You'll see it's a great interview, man. And subscribe to his channel. Now, what tripped me out is I saw the video the other day pop up, but I wasn't really paying attention. I was doing something else. And then, like I said, this morning I was scrolling, and as soon as I saw, because it says it's called, I think it's called, basically the correction officer is saying who he believed was the most dangerous group in prison during his 23-year bid, we'll call it, as a correctional officer, right? And so when I looked at it, I was like, hold up, that's King. So I texted Chill, and I was like, hey man, is that King? I said, I'm busy right now, because I was on the phone. I said, I can't listen, but I think that's King. Then I heard him say, his first and last name. I don't want to say his first and last name, but I said, and I want you, guys, I want you to understand this. You remember SEALs for certain reasons. If you remember their name long after you ran across them, it's for a reason. Most times it's bad. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I knew King. I was on the yard with King for a few years, and the way you see him talking and his forwardness and everything in the interview with Chill is how he was, man. I dug that dude as a cop. He was a guard. He wasn't no CO. He was a guard. He came in. He was gonna do his shift, and he was gonna go home. He was not trying to search your cell. He did not want to mess with you. He knew you had a thing to do in there, and so did he. Right. So shout out to King, man. Now, I went ahead and I wrote down the minutes so that you guys can go back and watch it for yourself. There's been things that I have said, right? And I get beat over the head over it. I never attempt to glorify anything that goes on behind those walls. There are questions that I don't ask, obviously. There are questions that I have asked. Now, the first one I want to address, because luckily Chill asked the questions and King answered them according to his experience. Okay. So around the 19-minute and 30-second mark, Chill asked King, and this is a question that I would never answer myself, but it was put out there, right? Oh, no, excuse me. This is the first one. It's not this one. It's going to be the second one. At the 19-minute, 30-second mark, Chill asked King which group was the deepest, which group had the biggest numbers. See, whenever I've spoken on this, I've been called a liar. Remember, I was on the same yard that King was on. I've been called a liar, and I get accused that, Mexicans from Southern California only move when they have the numbers. And I've repeatedly said, I have never been on a yard where the blacks were outnumbered. Ever. So, like I said, at the 19-minute, 30-second mark, Chill asked King which group was the deepest, and he said the blacks. I was on that yard with King. We had, Raza from up north, you can ask them, the channels. They'll tell you they keep a head count. I knew the head count for the Southerners. We had approximately 120 Southern Mexicans on that facility. There was a minimum of 500 blacks on that yard. Okay. So anyway, so King himself said it was the blacks. The blacks were always the deepest. That's the reality. So I was glad that that question was asked. Now, this one I was hesitant to, uh, but I think it fits in. So when people say, "Oh, the Mexicans only do stuff when this and that," that's not true. You have a guard that was there saying, like, no, the Southern Mexicans were not the deepest. Then next at the 21-minute mark, 21 minute 51 seconds, Chill asked what group was the most dangerous in his opinion, and King said the Southerners. And I don't glorify. I'm not telling you this because anybody should get a pat on the back. It's just to show, like, when people say, "Oh, well, they have to be, there has to be more of them." That's not the case. I don't want to get into the details, but the Southerners would rather make money on the yard than go to war. You go to war, you ain't making no money. Okay. But when it's time to go, the Southerners are going to go hard, just like everybody else is going to go hard. But in King's opinion, he said it was because of how organized the Southern Mexicans were, is that's what made them dangerous. Because everyone knew you mess with them, they're all going to be, at least 90% of them coming with knives, and they're going to keep coming in waves, and that's just what it is. It's nothing to glorify. It was a question that was asked and answered, right? And so I'm just pointing out there's several things on from this interview, but the interview is great. Don't just listen to my video, this video. Go over there and check it out. Um, Chill had great interviewing skills on that video, and because King was not someone who was very talkative, and you can see Chill is pulling uh, more of the answer out. Did a good job, man. Now, as far as checking paperwork, I've never really mentioned that, but other people have, other channels have, and Chill was smart. Chill was going down the line of things that are mentioned on YouTube, and he was giving an officer, a guard, an opportunity to debunk a lot of the stuff that's out there or to confirm it. So at the 30-minute mark, Chill asked King about checking paperwork. And he said, because what it had to do was, Chill had said, well, talked about people with funny charges. And um, King said, like, we knew that if it was a white inmate or a Mexican inmate with funny paperwork, the whites and the Mexicans were definitely going to be checking that paperwork and doing what they got to do. And Chill followed it up with, well, what about the blacks? Because a lot of people are saying they don't check paperwork. And King's own words were, some do. And that's what people have said, that some do, most don't. But that's other people's politics. But I just wanted to clarify because obviously Chill was tired of hearing that narrative. And I'm sure that the reason why Chill was tired of hearing that narrative is because he was probably involved in a crew that did check paperwork. And so he wanted someone to confirm that, and it was confirmed, right? Is it as organized as the whites and the Mexicans? No, but the black population is very fractured, and they have there's so many groups. One can't tell another one what to do, and so that's why it's going to be different per car, But that's their thing. At the 36-minute and 30-second mark of the video, Chill asked King why the Southerners outnumber the Northerners. To me, I always thought it was pretty obvious, um, just the sheer numbers. Like, no disrespect at all. I don't ever talk to disrespect anyone, right? I just try to be as open as I can be. I think if you look at the LA metropolitan area, that's what they call it. That's like Los Angeles County, Orange County, and San Bernardino, right? I don't know, maybe Riverside's in that, but I think it's those three are considered like the metropolitan area. I think if you just add those three counties, right? Los Angeles, San Bernardino, and Orange County, the number of Mexican gangs and gang members in those three counties probably outnumbers all of the gang members of Northern California. And the difference is because it's more shit. I always say I think the only real city that's in California as far as like when you think of city life is San Francisco. So San Francisco is compacted, right? But there's a lot of rural area in Northern California. There is in Southern California, but there's also a lot of bigger cities, and bigger cities are more populated. I remember a while back, it was, I believe, 60% of, um, I think it was 60% of the CDC's population came from Alley County Jail, or Alley County, excuse me, Alley County. Something like that. I could be wrong. Somebody check it, but I know it was at least 60% was from Southern California. Southern California is very very much more populated and less rural. That's the only reason why that is, right? And then one of the things that I thought everybody knew, everybody was aware of. At the 37-minute mark and 37 minutes 11 seconds of the video, Chill asked King about administrations or administrators pitting the convicts against each other. That was a tactic that was used forever. That was a tactic that led to deaths, to riots, uh, just a lot of injuries, and King confirmed it. He was told that, and he confirmed it. And I've told people this before. 2000, I think it was around 2001, on Sea Facility in New Folsom. It was before I had came back down there from the shoe. The Northerners, the Raza from Northern California, had issued 14 commandments to the administration, and they were demanding to get yard with others and blacks only, no whites, no Southerners. That way, they would be able to do their time peacefully. And the CDC, the administration in New Folsom, told them that wasn't going to happen. So then they filed paperwork in the courts. Now, um, I do want to say that within the Northern Raza, there at the time, there was a rift, because some of the Northerners felt that that was not the way of a warrior to go to the courts. They felt, let's just get out on the yard, let's just get off. And the other side was like, no, let's utilize the courts. This is the way we can get what we want, right? And so at the time, Chill's texting me right now. At the time, there weren't any Northerners coming out to the yard. And I remember there being a press interview, right? And if I remember right, the CDC spokesman at the time, his name was like Tip Kendall or something. And it came out on like you guys could probably find it. It'd be hard to find. I'm sure they wanted to hide it. But a reporter asked the spokesman for the CDC if the Northerners just want to get yard with people they get along with and have like basically do their time peacefully, what's wrong with that? And the dude blew it, because he said the truth. He said, if we put inmates on the yard with people that they get along with, then the only enemy they have is the correctional staff. And we don't want that. We would rather have them at odds with each other than at odds with us. That's the reality. I also do know, having arrived to Sea Facility in New Folsom in 2001, after getting out of the shoe, getting there in 2001, Sea Facility in New Folsom had forever been a stronghold for the Raza from Northern California, but because of the lawsuit that they had filed, they had basically forfeited the yard. And the administration made it clear that they did not want the Raza from Southern California to get a foothold on that facility, because that facility had contracts with the outside as far as laundry. I mean, hey, I was walking around with Hugo Boss shorts, like several pair of Bonnaroo ass shorts from the streets, because they had the laundry, the main laundry, that had contracts with I don't know what, and they were doing laundry for people. So people would steal the nice clothes and come out to the yard and sell them. And I mean, they had the main kitchen. So the administration felt like if the Southerners were to become like a mainstay on sea facility, knowing that the Southerners are potential rivals of everybody on the yard, including the whites, um, that it could potentially mess up their contracts. And so I remember um, when we would go to yard, because we would get yard every other day, right? Unless you were yard crew and every other day, you were only going to see Southern Mexicans on the yard every other day. And that day they weren't out there, only the yard crew. 5 or 6 Southerners on the yard and hundreds of their rivals, right? It was a cold game they were playing. But I remember when we would go to yard, if we got more than 20 dudes on the yard that were from Raza from Southern California, it was the first time it happened because, you know, when you're in there, you're paying attention to everything. We went out there and then there was a yard recall, and it was about 20 minutes in the yard recall. And we're like, yard recall, we just got out here. Ran us all back in. And then next time we had yard, boom, same thing. So I went ahead and did a head count. I said, okay, there's this many vatos on the yard right now, as far as Raza from Southern California. Next time they ran the yard, I noticed, okay, there's over 20 on the yard. So then that's when we realized, okay, if there's more than 20, they're gonna run us in, because they wanted the blacks or whites, anyone else, to feel like, hey, we can remove all the Southerners right now. It's easy. And when they realized they couldn't do it, then they had to start letting more out. And so it would be a whole building and then one section from another building that would let out at a time. Still not a lot of people, because like I said, at the time, there was about 120 vatos from Southern California there. But that is one of the most treacherous things. You know, there's a thing, I might even have it in my stuff. I don't have very much stuff at all left from prison, but I may have. It was a thing from Old Folsom when they actually used to have the cell blocks, the housing units, basically segregated, and it was peaceful that way, at least in the housing units. And so what they did, the administration moved, I think it was 4 cells of blacks to a building that was all Mexicans, and 4 Mexican cells to all black housing unit. And what do you think happens? They orchestrated that, and that war kicked off, and then it died down, but the animosity was still there. That's what the CDC has done, and that's what they're going to try to do right now. When you have a cease of hostilities in New Folsom, in New Folsom, I'm getting all these texts right now. And when you have the cease to all hostilities in the CDC, when you realize now you're not hearing about racial riots like you would before, because you have all the heavyweights out there. It's a different world. The administration's dying to get back to business the way it was. So anyways, this video was a lot longer than I ever put together. You guys know I don't do long videos unless I'm doing a reaction video. This is not necessarily truly a reaction video, but is a response to a video I feel was well put together. Great interview. Like I said, hopefully you guys will go there and check out the original 16 to Life. I'm going to put the link up here. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them, right? I'm out.